Hello and welcome to the Political Junkie live stream. My guest tonight is political newcomer Joy Monjuri, a former Everson City Councilwoman and farming enthusiast. She'll be joining me to talk about her plans for down in Olympia. She's running against incumbent and cover model for Choir Boys Monthly, Vincent Baez. We'll check in on her race in just a moment, but first you may have noticed one small change here, mainly that I'm talking to you through the power of internet. My voice is streaming through that lens into your computer. So thank you for joining us on this Political Junkie live stream. We're going to be taking a look at some of the more ridiculous facets of state legislature, and let's begin. My name is Riley Sweeney. This is the Political Junkie live stream. The state legislature met earlier this year, and as usual, spent most of their time shutting down bills from the opposite party. I think most legislators in Olympia see our process the same way we see the guide meridian. You never moving through, and nobody crosses the center lane. However, this didn't stop several Whatcom County politicians from proposing some rather unusual legislation this year. Representative Chris Litton, Democrat from the 40th, proposed a bill this year that would limit the amount of sea cucumbers that are harvested. Republicans saw this as an opportunity. Republicans saw this as an infringement on their right to make tossed salad, while Democrats saw this as an opportunity to redistribute the wealth. Sea cucumbers are an important resource for feeding those sea urchins. That's right, yes, marine biology humor. Republican Vincent Baez was not to be outdone. He stayed on solid ground, proposing a bill about sheep's blood. His bill would have reclassified sheep's blood so that it was no longer a sheep waste product. So while the rest of the legislature is balancing the budget and working on education, Vincent Baez is asking, if it comes from a sheep, is it really mutton? Finally this year, we say goodbye to one of the most creative and least productive legislators from Whatcom County, Representative Jason Overstreet. Overstreet has been an out-of-the-box thinker since his very first year when he introduced legislation which would have allowed us to pay our bills with gold coins. Investigative reporting found that the backers of this bill included Long John Silver, Scrooge McDuck, and Jerry, that one guy on the corner of Railroad who owns a Zeppelin and has been abducted by aliens like 3 times. Jason has, you know him, he's there. Jason has so many ideas you can literally see the light bulb appearing over his head, and sometimes the light bulb talks to him. Jason, set your light bulbs free. He proposed this last year the Incandescent Light Bulb Freedom Act. And it's got freedom in the title, so you know it's going to be good. If I might quote the bill, the people of Washington State know better than the federal government what type of light bulb they prefer and should have the freedom to choose whether or not they wish to purchase or use incandescent light bulbs. In a follow-up statement, Overstreet said, and you know what? I'm bringing back the abacus. In your face, computers. What really cooked Overstreet's goat this year was a controversy where Western Washington University President Bruce Shepard made a statement about race on campus. Shepard called for increased efforts to find and retain minority students and faculty. In response, Jason Overstreet's calm and rather, restrained response was to call for his resignation. He was quickly smacked down by fellow Republican and Western Washington University trustee Ralph Monroe, who said he was, quote, dead wrong. A month later, Overstreet announced that he was not going to seek re-election. Instead, he was going to take some more time to raise his children in, quote, fear and admonition of the Lord. Psst, Jason Overstreet's children, if you need to sneak out of the house, just tell him there's some gold doubloons in the backyard. He'll be busy for hours. Back at the Capitol, Senator Kevin Ranker wins the Grumpy Old Man Award this year for his bill to ban the use of leaf blowers by state agencies because they're loud. They emit greenhouse gases. They're loud. They're really loud. I mean, get off my lawn, darn it! Ridiculous bills are not a new phenomenon. After all, County Councilman Pete Kremen was a state legislator once. Wait, that's not the joke. Hold on, there's more. While he was down there, he wrote a bill regulating the use of electronic bowls in bars. There's a joke there about regulating bull emanating from Olympia, but you can read all about it in his unpublished memoirs, Musings of a Mustache. But the real battle this year was over education funding. The state Supreme Court has literally threatened to arrest the entire state legislature for neglecting their paramount duty to fully fund education. The court said that we needed to find $5 billion for fund basic education by 2018. The legislature allocated $58 million for operating costs. So, to put that in perspective, we owed the school $5,000, and we rummaged around in our couch cushions and came up with $50 and said, here you go, that'll be good. Oh, and have a sea cucumber. Sad joke, even more sad failure of our state legislature to provide for our schools. Sorry for the downer, everybody. What isn't a joke is the intense election struggle between incumbent Republican Doug Erickson and former county and city councilman Seth Fleetwood. Erickson has been plagued last year by ethics complaints for receiving several $1,000s in free meals from lobbyists. This year, in a truly Republican fashion, he's outsourced the eating of those meals to his campaign manager. His challenger, Seth Fleetwood, is proudly supported by local environmental group Washington Conservation Voters, who rallied last year to help progressive candidates take back the county council. Let's take a look at this video WCV produced this year at their annual breakfast. Doo-doo-doo.
It's the first time we've ever had that much CO2 in the atmosphere.
Probably going to wipe out all these houses right here.
I cannot consciously accept the dangers of climate change for my family or yours.
We don't fight science, we embrace it. We don't follow the rest of the world, we lead it.
This is my land. This is my home. And it's beautiful, and I don't want it ruined. We can find other ways to make a living. We can find other ways to build and to have businesses. We don't have to destroy the environment in order to do it.
You know, there's no better place than Washington State to lead on climate action.
But to do some of this big stuff on climate, we need a team. And we have Governor Jay Inslee ready to go. We have a House of Representatives ready to take action. And we need now a pro-environmental, pro-climate action state Senate.
I think we all have a responsibility to change things the way we live so that we can help make generations in the future have a better life.
Welcome back. Again, this is Riley Sweeney with the Political Junkie live cast. Erickson, that was a great video about Erickson. Erickson, for his part, has raised over $230,000 from corporate interests in a desperate attempt to fend off Seth Fleetwood. In response, Fleetwood is bringing his Jeff Goldblum-y good looks to the big screen with ads like this.
Steak dinners, travel. Doug Erickson is #1 in lobbyist handouts while pocketing $750,000 in pay and benefits from taxpayers. What do lobbyists get from Erickson? Erickson delivers, siding with big oil companies on train safety, chemical companies to block a ban on toxic toys that cause cancer. Seth Fleetwood has other priorities, ending corporate tax loopholes, equal pay for women, and ending extreme partisanship.
I'm Seth Fleetwood, and I would appreciate your vote.
Paid for by people for Seth Fleetwood, Democrat.
All right, thanks for sticking with us. We're going to take just a momentary break, and then we'll be back with Joy Monjuri, candidate for state representative.